Hey friends, it's Josh Simons coming to you today because I wanted to actually do a reading for everybody. Some of you have never gotten a reading from me. Some of you just follow me on social media and my website and stuff. Some of you have gotten several one-on-one readings with me. Some of you have just seen me in live group sessions. For those of you that don't know, when I do my one-on-one readings, I rely on the runes a lot. Runes. And for those of you who are not familiar with what the runes are symbols, if you will, an alphabet from Northern Europe, where most of my DNA is from, mostly Northern European. They're the very first alphabet according to the archaeological record in Northern Europe. The Germanic tribes of Germany and France use them, Scandinavian, down through England, Scotland, Ireland. They're found all throughout there. They're found in Iceland in various forms. They're an alphabet just like our alphabet is in the way that you can write or spell with them, but they're also an alphabet in the way that like Hebrew letters or the hieroglyphics of Egypt are. Where each of the symbols represents a different idea or concept. And when you work with runes, when you work with them over and over again, you will develop a relationship with them that they each have common meanings according to mythology or folklore or the poetry that they come from. But they'll also start to gain meanings for you. Added meanings, kind of like onions have layers. The runes will have layers, common meanings, but also meanings that are just yours. So you can kind of see this white cloth that I have here. What I do on my one-on-one readings is I cast the runes. And you can use runes in several different ways. You can just pull a single one from a bag. You can pull three. There's different ways that you can place them in different positions where, you know, past, present, future sort of thing. What I like to do is just cast them out. And I cast them out in a way that any of the runes that fall face up are going to have messages for us. And I use this right here, this copper ring, in the center as a way to delineate the major energies that we should be aware of, right? It's just a good way for me to say, okay, this is in the center, this is kind of in the outskirts. And then I read the different clusters and the different groupings and how they relate to one another. Commonly, when it comes to runes, there's schools of thought that say, well, they have meanings upright and they have meanings upside down, and I don't go that way. And some people do, some people don't. I actually just feel them out and use my intuition and get drawn. And the reason that I'm coming to you today is because I want to do a reading around COVID-19, the coronavirus. When it comes to people who are healers, and as much as I hate that word, that's ultimately what I do. If my goal is to bring people connection and clarity and direction in their life, ultimately liberation from the things that's holding them back in life, ultimately what I do is I'm a healer. And I hate that term because there are so many healers out there, right? And that's not to say that they're not healing, but when people use a term like that, it kind of props them up as better or different than, and I don't ever want to be that. You know, I'm just a guy that is very fortunate to have found the path I have, and a guy that's very fortunate to have the energies and spirits in my life that I do. But I want to do a rune casting here around this, just to see. I don't know how these runes are going to land. I don't know what's going to come up. But I feel very called to bring this message to people today. So hang in there with me. I'm about to cast the runes, and I'm going to go over what some of them mean as we go through this. Okay. So the first rune that kind of fell closest to the camera, or to the audience, if you will, is iiera. I'll share it to you. And it's actually the only rune that's made up of two characters like this. You can see there are two characters that are not touching. Iiera is spelled J-E-R-A, and it actually means year. It means year or cycle, and it talks about harvest, reaping what you sow, work, the things that you've earned by the work that you've done with your hands. First thing that I'm called to talk to you about today, and again, the intention was to talk about this virus, right, the coronavirus that everybody is so consumed about. We all need to be aware of cycles in our life, right? The cycles of our bodies, the cycles of nature, and the cycle of seasons, right? Spring, summer, fall, winter, and how the earth turns, and everything has a cycle. When it comes to that, this cycle here is speaking of what we're seeing is a cycle, right? I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theories around this virus, or maybe it was a weapon, or I don't know, who knows where it came from. It came, right? Whether it came from bats or whether it came from Russia or China, I don't know, right? Well, I'm not here for that. What I am here to say is that it is part of a cycle, that the world and humanity in general can only go for a certain amount of time before it breaks, right? Before we reap what we sow. And I think a lot of people are already seeing what this virus is doing for people in terms of bringing them together, bringing communities together. Look at what's happening to the canals of Venice and to the skies of China. This virus has literally brought us to our knees. And I hope against hope that it gives us focus on how to better come into right relation with each other and with the earth that is our home. That is ultimately what I hope that we get out of this. I hope that we do not go back to our same old stupid ways after this virus. And I don't think we will. I think things are going to change. I think things are going to really change. So iiera talks about reaping what you sow, and when you look at this, when you look at what this virus is doing to us, we are absolutely reaping what we've sowed as a collective species. I'm going to be forthright when I say this to you. I live in northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, right, where there's snow, and I've lived here my whole life, and I love this area that I live in, and I love it like it's a member of my family. Like, I love that. And when I see litter on the side of the roads, I see it as an absolute insult, like a threat to my family. That's how I see it. And over the past few years, when the snow melts like it's melting right now, and I'm driving down the side of the road and I see beer can and Dunkin' Donuts bag and McDonald's bag and plastic bags and gross litter, I have said, boy, we need a new plague. We need a new plague. And it was said in jest, right? It was said in lightheartedness. But there is a certain subset of humanity that is so self-centered and so can't see past their own nose. And I'm absolutely not wishing death upon them, but I hope that this virus makes them realize that they're part of an intricate web of creation. That's what I hope. And, I look at these people that are filling their cars up with toilet paper, with no regard for their fellow man or the elderly in their community. They just want, selfish, right? I'll guarantee you that these are the same people that are tossing trash out their goddamn window. They are us, we are them, right? I am not better than the people that toss litter out. It hurts me to see what they do, but I'm also a human, and I'm in the human race. I'm in this society. I am part of them. They are part of me. It hurts me to see that, right? It hurts me greatly to see that. But ultimately, iiera talks about us reaping what we've sowed as a collective group of animals. And that's really what we are. A few other runes here. And I love this because there are runes, there are all sorts of runes that can mean not so fuzzy things, and there's not a great amount of them here, right? So there's some positive messages for us. This rune right here, that's Uruz. That is the rune of the auroch. The auroch is an extinct oxen from Northern Europe, and that rune speaks to health and vitality and strength, right? It's a rune that I have tattooed on me in a couple of different places because I love it. And the auroch was an untamable animal. They couldn't tame it. There were other cattle that they were able, our ancestors were able to domesticate, but not the auroch. The auroch had these great big long horns and was known for its just incredible virility. That rune right there populates, believe it or not, in a lot of women's readings when the woman that I'm giving a reading to, she comes from women, her mom, her mom's moms, her mom's mom's mom, who live into their 80s and 90s. So it speaks to virility, health, that we cannot forget how strong we are. We cannot forget how strong the people were that we come from. Sure, our modern society is diseased and it's broken, and there's so much imbalance, right? We've forgotten the things that are important. But there's still a lot of strength around us. Think of the people, the healthcare providers, the teachers, the people that are at the gas stations and grocery stores and keeping society going. They're waking up every day, combating the anxiety and the fear and the worry of contracting this deadly virus. And they are going to work anyway. They are getting out into the world anyways because they have to. Of course, social distancing is a thing right now. We have to stay home if we can. We have to limit our exposure to other people to slow this down. Of course, we have to do that. But I'll tell you what, there are certain people out there that if we didn't have them, our society would certainly grind to a halt. And we have them because they are strong. If you're watching this and you're part of the healthcare field, grocery stores, gas stations, banks, any of those things that need to keep our society running, you have my utmost gratitude because you're strong. And you're really my role models. I think of the people standing at the cashier line at the grocery store scanning food, right? Boom, 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 and all the food that they're selling to people, and all the people that are coming across them, hundreds of people a day, right? Those people are brave. We wouldn't be here as a species. We wouldn't be here as humans if we didn't have bravery or courage to look back on and to hold. So that's a reminder that we have bravery and courage within us and within our species as a whole. The rune that fell right in the center. I'm gonna go over this. This is very important. This is one of my favorite runes, and I have a group of runes that I really like because I really like the energies that they represent. I'll show it to you. This is Tiwaz. Right in the center. That is the warrior rune. And it's not the warrior in the way of, shooting people on the battlefield or slicing people's heads off. Think of the honor and the integrity like knights, chivalry would have, samurai, the codes that they would have, honor and integrity, right? Strength, fighting for what's right. It also speaks to self-sacrifice, the sacrifice that we have to give up of ourselves to make this world a better place, to make the world, our community, a better place, right? So I love seeing that right in the center, right? I think what this is doing is this is showing us who the warriors of society are. And this is also reminding us all that we need to be warriors through all of this, that we're going to sacrifice parts of ourselves to get through this. Life isn't going to be easy. But we wouldn't be here if we didn't come from fighters, if we didn't come from warriors. And through all of this, we have to cultivate that inner warrior. We really do. The other rune that fell right in the center too, and it's really interesting. It's almost half of Tiwa's. This is an interesting rune. It's Lagus. Lagus is the water rune, right? It's the water rune. And it stands for emotions, because emotions are very connected to water, right? Think of the cups in tarot. But it's also connected to intuition, right? What we feel. But there's a lot to be said for water in and of itself, right? And this feels very connected to iiera, the cycles, the water of washing away. Okay, think of what this is doing right now. This virus is doing to us. It's washing away. I'm going to use some of my grandmother's French here. It's washing away a lot of our bullshit. It really is. People are coming together in ways that they never would have thought. We're all coming together. We're all looking at life and the fragility and how fragile it is and how special it is and how important it is to come together as community and to hold one another up. It's washing away a lot of the superficiality of life, all of the shallowness of life. It's making us realize how precious life is. And I love that. I love that. And that's a great rune. It also speaks of a feminine nature, right? Of a feminine quality too. And nurturing, like water would nurture the soil. So think of that. Oh boy. Hagalas is here. Hagalas is the hailstorm. And the hailstorm, if you saw a video that I did earlier this week, the hailstorm speaks of that storm that's over our head that we can't control, and that we just have to hope and pray that it doesn't take a lot when it comes, right? But it also speaks to that storm not being over our head forever. And that's something that we have to realize here. Right now, we shouldn't show blatant disregard for this. We should do everything that the professionals in the healthcare fields are telling us to do. Social distance, washing our hands, not touching our faces. And I'll tell you, you watch me touch my face in this video probably 11 times, 12 times. I do it so frequently, and this virus has made me realize how much I'm touching my face, right? So don't do that. But it talks about the sun coming back out, right? The storm lasts for a certain amount of time, and then the sun comes back out. And then we see Sowilo here. Sowilo is the rune of the sun. And it is victory, power, success. The sun comes back out. And whenever I see Hagalas, I look for Sowilo. And I love seeing Sowilo after that because it reminds us the sun comes out, right? And then I see Dagos. Dagos or Dagos is close, right next to iiera in this. And I'll show it to you here because this is a very special rune to me as well. Dagos talks about all sorts of things, and I'm going to give you the common meaning for this. And there's some meanings here with these runes that I don't share with the general public because they are very personal to me, and this is one of those. But this rune speaks to greater and stronger and wiser powers that have never been human that are around us taking care of us. So Dagos means the new day, the new dawn, transformation and change for the better. We have to go through the night to get through the day. And I think what we're in right now with this virus is the night. It's dark. People are being told to shelter in place. People are frightened like they've never been frightened before. We are all seeing things that we have never seen before. It is very dark. It will not last forever. That's what this rune spread is talking about that this is not going to last forever. Call me an optimist, call me a romantic, call me whatever you want to. But if there's one thing that I believe in, it's those higher powers that are around us, gods, deities, what have you, that are compassionate for us. But it's also the perseverance of the human spirit in the face of adversity. That is something that I'm a huge believer in. Know that this storm is not going to last forever. And I love seeing that this spread shows us that. Know that it's going to wash away like water. Know that it is going to require each and every single one of us to be a warrior, to stand up and fight for what's right. I'll tell you what, when this is over, I do not want us to go back to being the same consumeristic, ignorant people that we were. We should all fight for what's right. We should all fight for what's right for us, for our communities, for the imbalance that's within our society that creates people to waste their lives away working every single day for pennies. I'm not going to get too political here, but it is very important for us to look at the quality of life before this virus and look at what we can do to make the quality of life for all people better after this virus. So know that there's a positive outlook. Know that we're in the dark. Know that we will see death and people will die. Know that we have to get through this as a collective, in our families, in our communities, in our countries, wherever we're at. We all have to find that warrior within us to get through this. We all come from people that have been through much worse than this. The Great Depression, wars, famines, diseases, far worse than this. Muster the strength within you to get through this however you can. When you do, we'll get to the other side. And hopefully, we're going to be all the better for it. So thank you for staying with me for this 20-minute long reading. I hope it gives you some hope, because that's what you should be feeling right now. Not blatant disregard, but hope. Get through in an intelligent way, a smart way, like a warrior would. A warrior would plan, a warrior would prepare. A warrior wouldn't be stressed. A warrior would calculate. A warrior would have honor and integrity for the people around them. That's ultimately what we have here. That's ultimately what we're going to get. It's ultimately what's going to get us through this. So again, thank you for sitting here with me. I hope this does you well. Let me know if this resonates in any way. And again, I'm here for you. Thank you.